Hello, hello, everybody. Say hello to the Mr. Butters. There he is. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing tonight? Hi. Hello, hello, hello. So, it's Tuesday. What's up? So, my name is Eve. This is Eve's Creations Paint Party. And tonight is a how-to Tuesdays in the house. What? Yes, so our how-to this evening is flowers. I am going to show you everything that I know about painting flowers. Okay, so I just want to remind everybody, this is a kid-friendly video. Please watch your commenting, and we're going to have a good time. There's no actual painting. It's a complete practice session. This is your time. Make sure you let me know what you need to see. Ask me any questions. Let's try to keep it on topic, which is flowers tonight. And we'll get this party started, all right? We'll get our practice session started. So say hello if you're practicing with me tonight. And I hope I have a few things to show you that you can use in your own paintings and make your paintings that much better, all right? So I am a self-taught painter. I have been painting for 30 plus years, and these are just things that I've discovered with all of my painting and my practicing that I have done over the years, and I hope you enjoy. All right, hi Stacy, how you doing, love? Hello, hello, hello. So say hello. I'm gonna put you guys in our handy dandy holder here. There you are, you're all set. So we're going to be doing flowers and pour your paint. Let me fix some lighting here. Let me get that going for everybody. Alrighty. Hello, 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 Lisa. Hi guys. Hi Stacy. Hi Lisa. So I have to take you out of the folder. Hello Ginny. I have to take you out of the holder because I didn't show you my setup. Oh, whoops. So anyway, here we are. So I have my paint, black, yellow, red, white, and blue. Same colors every single party. Hello, 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 everybody. Of course, my water. I have a menagerie of brushes tonight. Big fancy word. The paint party brushes in the house. Big Boy and Mini Me. And Big Boy is a 1-inch flat. Mini Me is a flat that is extra tiny. I also have some of my rounds over here. We might be using some of my smaller brushes. And of course the Java in the house. So hello everybody. So hi Rachel from Rhode Island. Hello Bonnie. Hi Dawn. Ontario, Canada in the house. What's up Julia? Hey Cheryl. Good to see you, love. Hey Ginny. Hey, another Ontario, Canada. Lisa, what's up? Stacy in the house. Alrighty, we have Rachel, Rhode Island. You're on time tonight, Joy. You are here. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Megna. Awesome. Hi, Megna. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, everybody. Hello. So get your stuff together. Get your questions already in your brain. Okay, so we will be doing flowers tonight. Hey, Dawn. Hello, Lorraine. Hi, Katie. Hey, Lisa. How you guys doing? How's everybody doing tonight? Everybody's doing great, I hope. I hope everybody is having a great evening. A great evening. Let me write all you loves down so I can do a roll call. You know how much I love roll call. That's for sure. That is for sure. So we'll be doing the flowers tonight. You guys get your palettes together, get your paint together. If you have any questions about anything, be sure to ask me. We have a lot of family members on tonight. So welcome to the fam if you're new to us. Welcome back if you've been here before. Alrighty, so I have my fam that's been here before. They can answer questions too. I have Megna Patrol on a roll. Yes, she is my in-house, going to steal my job one day person. So she'll answer some questions for you, I'm sure. We have Dawn here from KC, Lorraine from Canada. Ooh, it's cold, Lorraine. It's cold. It's cold here too. It is cold here too. Hey, hey, Katie. Lisa in the house. Joy is on time. That's right. She's on time. Amanda from Kansas. Hello, Amanda. How you doing? Sophie. Amy and Sophie in the house. Hi, guys. Hello, hello, hello. And Lisa's here. Lisa. You made it on time, girl. You made it on time. Migna, I don't know about that, sweetheart, but you keep painting. You keep painting because you're good now. And you can only get better. Right, guys? We're all good now. We can only get better. All right. So I'm just going to throw a background on here real quick. I'm going to swirl tap dab my big boy. All right. Big boy is my 1-inch flat. So we're going to throw a background on here real quick. Real quick like. So let's do some, hello, 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 Joanne. How you doing, love? How you doing? Let's do some blue and some white. Let's just do some blue and some white. Why not? So I'm just grabbing some blue and I'm grabbing some white. And I'm just going to throw a background on here real quick. And I want it to be a nice light background so you guys can see the flowers. And the reason I'm throwing a background on here, not just starting to paint flowers, is because acrylic paint likes to grab onto something, and your canvases have like a texture to them. So you want to throw something on your canvases to flatten out that texture that's already on them. And also when you're painting on to paint that you throw onto your canvas, not only do you have a smoother surface, but it'll glide better. It'll glide better. That's what'll happen. So I am just going to throw some blue and white on here. Yes, 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 Lisa, right? So I'm glad you popped on, hun. Glad you popped on. So I'm just grabbing some blue and white paint. And we're just going to throw this on here. All right, so there's lots of things about flowers. There's so many different flowers. Mother Nature is so awesome, right? She's so amazing, giving us all these different flowers and everything else. I'm just going to grab some of my yellow now and do my blue and white to throw some green on the bottom. So, you know, there's so many different flowers. So tonight I'm going to definitely go over the rose. I'm sure lots of you out there would love to know how to paint a rose. And I'm definitely going to go over daisies. There's sunflowers. There's, you know what? Every other flower out there just left my brain. But I'm sure you guys can clue me in on all the other flowers that are out there. I'm trying to think of them, and my brain just went completely blank as far as what's other flowers that are out there. So go figure that one. I'm not surprised. That's what happens sometimes. That's what happens sometimes, right? That's all the joys of getting older. The joys of getting older, that you can't remember anything. I like to call it CRS for all you adults out there. Your roses need help. Hey, Michelle. Michelle from New Jersey. How you doing, sweetie? Tulip, thank you. Thank you. Lilies, hibiscus. There, you guys are on point. Thank you. Hey, Katie. Peonies, nice. That works too. All right, so I'm just going to put Big Boy in the water. Put Big Boy in the water. Look at all these family members we have tonight. What? Right, Dawn? I'm telling you, it just happens. Just happens that way. Carnations, daisies. You see, I told you guys have my back. I knew you'd have my back, that's for sure. All right, so I have this nice little background on here, make my canvas nice and smooth, and I'm going to start with, so what I like to do is mapping, right? And mapping, okay, Amy and Becca, sounds good. Daisies, that's what I'm going to start with, Sue. I'm going to start with daisies. Okay, so mapping is very simply just I use white paint and I block out what I'm going to paint first. All right, Lisa, sounds good. Peonies, good job, Jill. So I'm going to just grab some white paint, and since my blue is still wet, I'm just grabbing a round brush. This is a number 9 Low Cornell. I'll show you guys as long as my brushes aren't so torn up that all the info's gone. So this is number 9, a Low Cornell brush, and it's just a simple round brush. And I'm just going to, I put it in my water, and I'm just going to grab my white paint. Okay, and I'm going to grab my white paint, and I'm going to come in here, and right, so we have our circle. We have our circle, and my blue is still wet, so, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. Makes my life a lot easier. Makes the paint run a lot smoother on there. So, that's my center, right? I'm going to do a straight up in your face daisy. All right. Isn't it pretty? Yes. So, daffodils. There you go. There's one I could show you too. All right. So, now, daisies, right? I'm just pushing my brush on here, and I'm going to give a pull. And with the round brush, what's nice is it gives you a petal shape. Now, when you do petals and the flower is facing right at you, think of hands of a clock, right? So hands of a clock, right? We got 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So you want to think when they come out of your center like hands of a clock, all right? So that way, right? 12, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I ran out of room. But anyway, hands of a clock, like spokes on a wheel. That's what you want to think about, like spokes on a wheel, right? So you have those going in there. And when you put these on here, you want to think of like spokes on a wheel or hands of a clock, and you just put these lines out there. You just put these lines out there. And that way you get your general flower shape. All right, and then what you can do is you can add on to that, right? So now that I have my general flower shape, now I can turn around and add the ones in between, right? Because daisies have a lot of petals, right? They have a lot of petals. So now I can just add my ones in between. Now, what's really cool, if you guys noticed, is doing this with the paint being wet, those first petals I put on stayed blue. And now I'm putting the other petals on, and they're taking a lighter blue effect to them. So that easy peasy lemon squeezy is one way to get your flowers to have shading, and without even thinking about it. So all of that is a nice light blue color, you guys. I'll show you up close, right? Look at that. I put all that on there. It's a light blue color. And if you notice, the ones in the background are really blue because my paint was really, really wet. And the petals I just put on top of those are more white because now my paint's starting to dry. Now, we're going to let that dry even a little bit more, and we're going to add more petals. And you very easily can just put your center back in. Okay, so when we let that dry a little bit more, we're going to add more petals, and that is the easiest way to do a flower with shading. Just let your white paint pick up the paint from the background, and that's all you need to do. And then you let it dry. You gotta have that patience, let it dry, and throw some petals on top of it, and bam, just like that, you have shaded flowers without even trying. And what's nice about the round brush, if you notice that when I pull it, it makes that round edge right there. So you don't even have to work on rounding your edges. When I pull it, it makes that round edge right there. So that's one really cool thing about having a round brush, is that all of your little petal edges, if you press your brush and pull like this, press and pull, it's going to make that round edge for you. That's why it's called a round brush. Go figure that one, right? It's called a round brush. Alright, so we're going to let that bad boy dry. And we're going to come over here. Hi, everybody. I'm just going to sneak in. Hi. Hello, everybody. Glad you all can make it. So, we're just going to come over here, and I'm going to start working on my rose. All right, so a rose. One thing about a rose is that it has sharp edges, right? When we think of flowers, we keep wanting to make them soft and pretty and all of those things. Roses have angles, and they have sharp edges, okay? So that's one thing that you need to remember. So for my rose, I'm going to grab my Mini Me, which we use in our paint parties all the time, right? Mini Me is a number 4 shader. He's very, very tiny. And I'm going to go back into that white paint. I said red because I'm thinking roses, right? So I'm going to go back into that white paint. And I'm just going to start off drawing the center of my rose. Thanks, Ashley. Love you too. So I'm going to do the center of my rose. All right, so when I start off my center, I am just going to make a teardrop. And if you notice, that blue paint is now pretty much dry because it's not bleeding into my white at all. So I'm going to start off with the upside down teardrop for my center. And then you just work out from there. All right, but you have to remember, roses have sharp edges. All right, guys, what do roses have? Sharp edges. So I'm going to pull out from here, nice and sharp, and then I'm going to swing it around, put like a little curve in there, putting a little curve in there, and doing that nice and sharp. All right, so hi girls, hi everybody, hi. So, and then we can just fill that in. All right, we can just fill that in real quick. Okay, and the next part I'm going to put in is right in here. If you're making a rosebud, right, it's going to turn around and have this piece that comes down like that. It's going to come down like that and be like a curve, right? So you're going to turn around and put that in. You're going to put that in. So there you have your rosebud shape, right? There's your rosebud shape. Okay, and then I'm going to come up here again, another sharp angle. I'm going to do like a little squiggle, 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 very technical, and I'm going to come back in to where my bud shape is, right? Because this is a rosebud. And I'm going to put that in there. All right, so that is for a rosebud. Now you can add as many of these little petals and little sharp edges coming out from that teardrop as you want as we get more and more into it. So I know with the white paint you guys are kind of losing all the details in this, so I'm going to start grabbing the red now. And I'm using the same brush, and I'm just grabbing red and white. Red and white. That's all I'm grabbing. Some red and white on my brush, all right? So, this way you guys can see it. So what did I start with? I started with that upside down teardrop. That's what I started with, right there. Bam. It's right there. There it is. The upside down teardrop, okay? And then the next thing I put on, was a petal coming out this way. Now, I made my paint lighter pink color because it's not going to be dark as all those petals that are in the center right there. All right, so I made this a lighter pink color right there. All right, so we put that petal in there, just like that. Bam. All right, and the other petal, which is going to be that lighter pink color again. I already have paint on myself, guys. I did it already. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. Don't worry about making a mess, right? We'll clean it up. So I'm going to do the other petal right here. Bam. Just like that, right? So I'm just filling in with flat base colors. Nothing fancy. I just did a little darker red for the center, and I'm doing a lighter pink for these petals that I put in. Okay, so there we go. There's the lighter pink on those two petals. So now I have to fill this in. Under here, is going to be very dark, and then it's going to get lighter, and it also has an overlap. Like this bud actually has an overlap in it. It's actually petals folded onto one another. So you want to make sure you grab that. So right under here, I'm going to do darker pink, all right? I'm going to do darker than I did before. And I'm mixing very little paint here, guys. See that? Look, I got the light pink and the dark pink. That's all I got going on. Nothing crazy. So under here, I'm going to do the darker pink. Right under here. Okay, so darker pink there and darker pink there. Right under there. All right. And then I'm just going to grab a little bit more white. I'm just grabbing a little bit more white. And I'm going to make this part lighter. Okay? Make that part lighter. Right? See that? You guys see that? I hope you see that. Okay. And then I'm going to fill in this part lighter. Now, like I said, this is actually leaves folded over themselves. So what you want to do is I'm going to grab just that red. Just that red on my brush. And I'm going to turn around and I'm going to come under here and make that really dark. Grabbing just that red. And then I'm going to put in that fold. I'm going to put in that fold right there. See? Put in that fold. And I'm going to grab a little bit lighter pink. And I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to put that fold in right there. Even lighter than before. So you really get the separation between the two sides. So you really get the separation between the two sides. So that's as easy as a rosebud can get as far as the shape is concerned. Now, flowers are about shading, and I did those 3D shapes, so it's all about shading and following where petals overlap. So the shading for flowers is always where like petals wind up overlapping each other. And what you want to do is, you got to think about that. So in the middle of this rose is a whole bunch of petals swirled together, right? So what I do is I just put little round pieces, not losing that pink in there, but just a couple of pieces in there to be like, oh, those are all petals swirled together. And I am just using straight red with that. I'm just using straight red with that. See? Not here, there, not everywhere, right? I left some of that pink in there so you can see your details. Okay? So, now this petal's going into the center. So right in here needs to be darker. Okay? So right in there needs to be darker. So I'm just going to darken my pink, and right in here, nope, not dark enough. Not dark enough. Right in here, right in there needs to be darker. Right? So right in there needs to be darker, just like that. So I'm going to make right in there darker. And then right in here in the same spot, close to the center, that's going to be darker, right? So what are we figuring out? All right, roses have angles. All right, and any flower towards the center, if it's a bud flower, towards the center, same with tulips, same with all of those flowers that are buds, towards the center, you want your petals to be darker and then go lighter to the edges. Go lighter to the edges. Now, rose petals like to fold over, and they do that, but it's like a sharp edge when they do that. So right here, I'm going to grab really, that's a lot, really light pink, okay? So I'm going to grab that, and I am just going to put in, follow that sharp edge that I had, and put in where this petal could be folding over. So where that folds over, underneath is going to be really dark. And if you notice, I did like a swoop there. There's a swoop, right? Swoop, right there. But then this line is straight. That line is straight. Okay, so if you do a fold over petal, you do the top of the fold over nice and light. And then right underneath that, you got to put your dark. You got to put your dark. So, just playing around with this, adding some of my light pieces back, maybe extending a little petal right here. Notice that this is to a point. It's not rounded. It's to a point. Roses have angles. So I'm just going to put this other little petal kind of folding over right there. All right, so there's another little petal folding over right there. I'm making the top part of it nice and light pink. Nice and light pink. Okay, so there's another little petal folding over. Maybe over here is another little petal folding over the rosebud part. So I'm just grabbing that light pink and I'm coming up in here. Again, making an angle. Making an angle. Making that nice and light pink just like that. Right, and then over on the inside, I'm going to darken that out. Over on the inside, this is going to be dark. That's like really dark in there. Okay, just like I did the fold over before. That's going to become really dark. And then where it's folding over is going to be really dark. So I'm just grabbing red paint, making that really dark. So you got to remember. And then on these pieces, the parts going towards the center, right? There's parts going towards the center. Those parts going towards the center have to be a little darker than the rest of the petal. So we're just going to make that a little darker right there. All right, so roses have a lot to them. What do I want you to remember about roses? So this is a rosebud, all right? So what do I want you to remember about roses? What I want you to remember about roses is that the first thing about roses, and you figure this out, the better your roses are going to get, is I keep getting white paint everywhere because I have it on myself. See that? So the first thing you want to get is roses have sharp angles. We always tend to want to make them really soft, but roses have sharp angles. The second thing I want you to remember, as you get closer to the center, the darker your paint's going to be. So as you get closer to the center, the darker your paint's going to be. And if you have foldovers of petals, the top part is really bright and the part that's underneath is really, really, really dark. Okay? So that's what I want you to remember about roses. All right. So one thing about roses is, so what you guys have to figure out, right? So I was like a lot of teaching right there, right? So you guys practice while I just talk, because I talk a lot. And I'm going to sip my coffee. So one thing about flowers, right guys? So you have to pay attention to your stems and your leaves. Sorry, I just put my thumb in front of the camera. You have to pay attention to your stems and your leaves. So every single flower out there has a particular stem and a particular leaf. So if you draw this and then you turn around and put your stem on there and it's a tulip stem, it's not going to look like a rose anymore. So we're all people that like that instantaneous satisfaction. We're all people that are like, you know, oh, I painted the rose. It's great. I'm just going to go swoop and drop a stem in. No, 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 no. You're going to lose your whole flower. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to what the stem looks like and the leaves look like just as much as the flower. All right? Don't forget the green. Right? The green is key. So you don't want to forget the green. So, rose stem. A rose stem, okay, first of all, rose stems do this really cool thing. They have this really cool thing going on, right? They have those little overlaps right by the flower, which is really, really cool. So, I'm still working with Mini-Me. I just grabbed green paint. That's all I did, and I'm going to drop in the stem here. Okay, so all I did was grab my yellow and blue green paint from before for doing the background, and I'm going to drop in my stem. Now I'm going to go straight down with a little curve, right? Because flower stems aren't perfectly straight. That's for sure. Okay? Hey, Tracy, how you doing? So you want to drop that in there. And then they have this really cool thing. They turn around and they have those pieces that come off that are like that. Those really cool pieces that come off of the flower. Those are like so neat, right? So you want to make sure you put those in there. And the leaf to a rose comes out like this and is shaped like that. Okay, so you want to make sure you get your stems and your leaves and your shapes just the way the flower is. And roses have thorns, those little prickers. They have those thorns that prick you every single time, right? So what beauty doesn't have thorns though, right? We're all beautiful, but sometimes we like to stick you. That's just the way it is. So turn around and we got to put some thorns on here. You got to put some thorns on there, right? Got to put some of those little prickers on there. Okay? So, hey W Mac, how you doing, right? So I have this on here. Now, does the stem get shaded? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I always put like a little triangle edge on the bottom of my rose stem. I just like to do that. Hey W Mac. Hey Tracy. Hey. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of white paint with that green. Just going to grab a little bit of white paint with that green. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make this one piece be the winner. So, when you're painting flowers, you want to think of like somebody being the winner and then somebody being the loser that's behind them. So this one is the winner. He's going in front of everybody. All right. And then this guy, he's the loser. So he's going back here. So he's going to be darker. Okay. So he's the loser. And then we have stuff overlapping again, right? So if stuff is overlapping, underneath has to be super, super dark. So I literally grabbed just blue. I grabbed just blue to put in there. Okay, so underneath has to be super, super dark. And of course, in true Eve fashion, I did not paint in the lines, so I have to put that light green color back on top of that piece because I always paint out of the lines for some reason. So we have to put this light green color back on. And he is the winner. He is on top of everything else. And then we have the darker guy in the back. And then the stem has to be super, super, super dark. Super, super, super dark. Right? Super, super, super dark. Because he is underneath all of that loveliness. And then don't forget, you have to put in your leaf detail. Right? You need your details in your leaves. So don't forget your details in your leaves. And all of that happy stuff, right? Underneath the thorns would be a little bit darker. All of that happy stuff. You can turn around and grab some light green, white paint. Light green and white there. Go on your leaf. Put a nice little highlight on there. And I'm just zigzagging back and forth for the highlight. We're just zigzagging. That's all we're doing. Blending it into whatever's there already. Doing my zigzag. So you can do a nice highlight on that. All right, so make sure when you do a flower, make sure you're paying attention to what their leaves and stems look like. All right, now, swirl tap dab by brush. Now that my rose is completely dry up there, so I can go back in and wha-bam, and add all of this extra stuff to it. Because now it's completely dry, so I can really make things pop. Popping leaves. So I'm going to grab that white paint that I had before. I'm going to grab a little bit of that pink that I had. Grab a little bit of that red that I had. Make that pink again. All right. So I'm making that light pink again, that base color I had before. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to make this part pop out more. Add a little bit more white. So we're going to add a little bit more white and let this piece pop out more right here. So I'm just grabbing really light pink and throw it in on there. I'm going to make this piece pop out more. I'm going to make this piece. I'm going to make a little piece right in here pop out. Okay, and I'm just zigzagging. I'm just zigzagging with my brush. That's all I'm doing. Remember, straight lines in a rose. Roses have angles. I'm gonna make that piece pop right there. Oh, I just put my hand all in my stem. Oh well. Right, now I'm gonna grab just straight red and I'm gonna turn around and get this part darker and that part. So when your flower dries, you can go back in and add all these cool little details and stuff going on. And really make this stuff pop out. Okay, so I'm just adding some more cool little details. Okay, so as you turn around, let's switch back to our daisy we had in the works. Hey Lauren, hey guys. So everyone's still out there. I hope that helps with a rosebud. I will do a full rose in a minute. We're going back to our daisy. There she is. So if you guys remember, all I did was paint my background blue and then I put white paint on top of it. I'm going to go back to that round brush I had. Scroll tap dab that round brush that I had. Okay, so I was using this round brush. Like I said, it's a number 9 from Lowe and Cornell. You guys see that? All right, so that's what I'm using. Hey, Lauren. Okay, so we're going to go back to this. So now what's awesome about this, it makes this easy peasy lemon squeezy. Since my paint was wet, all of this is a darker blue color, okay? So I'm going to take my white paint and I'm going to re-put in my center. I'm just going to re-put in my center. If you notice, parentheses, did the center. And I'm going to pick which petals are winners. So the winners go out in front, the losers are in the back, okay? So the winners are nice and bright and light, and the losers are the ones that stay dark. So easy peasy lemon squeezy to just make a flower without having to worry about doing a lot of your shading is you're just going to come back in. And like I said, that round brush, if you just pull it and flatten it, makes that nice round edge for you. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you notice, I'm going very soft towards the center. You can just pick the petals that are winners. You can just pick the petals that are winners and that are going to be on top. And you already have the petals in the background. You already have the petals in the background that are the losers, that are darker. Okay? So you can pick the petals that are just on top, and you already have those darker petals in the background. That's what's going on there. All right. Now, once you pick the winners, and I'm just using white paints, that's all I'm using. Once you pick these winners, right? I'm just going in and picking my winners. Taking advantage of that round brush, like I said. If you just pull it, it's going to make a nice round edge for you. That's what it does. All you have to do is pull it. Just pull it a little bit and it makes a round edge. That's why a lot of people like using the round brushes, because it makes nice round edges for you without even trying. So, this way, now, obviously those are really bright against the dark blue background. So if I'm going to make this, hi, Mitzi. So if I'm going to make this look all the same, I'm going to grab a little bit of blue. I'm going to grab a little bit of blue and a little bit of my white. Okay, and I'm going to come back in here. And remember what I said, towards the center is a little darker. I'm zigzagging that in. And say this petal is under that petal. All right, so we got to make this one darker in here. And we make all those ones in the back be darker too. Now, if you notice, I'm not filling in the whole petal. I'm just putting here, there, not everywhere of the darker color. So, flowers have a lot to do with shading. And they have a lot to do with putting colors in the proper spots and putting your darks and your lights in the proper spots. So, you just need to practice along. So, we're going towards the center. I'm going to put all of my little darker color in here. I put it all on the background ones, and now I'm going to put it on the front ones. So I put that darker color on there, and I'm just going to grab some white, and I'm just zigzagging, and I'm going to blend that through. So I'm just zigzagging and blending that blue color through. See how grabbing the white just softened that all out? Right? It was looking really dark and not correct right here. And just adding that white paint and zigzagging for my blend, right? Your blends are all zigzagging. It blended it right through. Now, this guy, he's the winner of all this stuff going on. So I'm going to grab my white paint again, and I'm going to come in and cut his petal back in there and put him in. So he's beating everybody. And I'm just going to add a little bit of blue towards the center and then soften that out. I'm going to add a little bit of blue towards the center right here. Oops, that was a lot of blue. That was a lot of blue. Let's wipe some of that off. And I'm going to soften this out. Okay, so always a little bit darker towards your centers. And anything that's underneath, darker. Anything underneath, even darker. So that's what you have to remember. You have to remember who's winning and who's losing. Who's going to be my winner and be a really bright petal, and who's going to be my loser and be the really, really dark petal. Okay, so look, I have the third place guy. I have the second place guy over here. All right, he's in second, so I put a little shade underneath, and I just blend that out into my white. Just blend that out into my white. And if you're not good with the blending yet, all I'm doing is zigzagging my brush, if you notice. That's all I'm doing. I'm just zigzagging my brush to blend that blue and white together. Okay, so you have this guy over here. All right, and then we have, bam, the winner who's the brightest. So we have the winner who's the brightest. So I'm just going to have it be a little bit dark towards the center and then get lighter and lighter as I work my way out. So you do your whole entire flower this way. I'm not going to turn around and paint this whole entire daisy for you. This is going to be like a whole other, you know, that could just be a video in itself on painting a daisy. Okay, but I wanted to show you the whole race. Okay, so you have your winner, your second place, and your loser. Okay, and that's what you need to remember. And you go back in and you fix your petals and make them all pretty, pretty. Right, you make them all pretty, pretty. And you have these winners and losers in there. And whoever's losing is the darkest, and whoever's winning gets lighter and lighter as you go along. And to blend these colors together, you just go a zigzag motion. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do is do a zigzag motion. That's all you need to do, right? So I have the white and the blue on here, and I'm just going to zigzag back and forth nice and light. See me zigzagging? I'm zigzagging into my color and out of my color, into my color and out of my color. That's all I'm doing. And you just pick who wins and who loses. All right, so this guy's the winner right here. So I'm just going to paint the white over him. Okay, so for your center of your flower, you can make it any color you want. I'm going to do a yellow center. So I'm going to grab my white paint, same round brush, my white paint and my yellow paint. I'm going to come right in here. So you do your centers last. Because when you're doing all that zigzagging and blending and coming back and forth and all that stuff, you're going to wind up painting into your center. So if you want your center to pop, you do it last. If you want all of that feed in of the petals, you can do it first. And that makes it a little more realistic having that, like those zigzaggies right in the center there. So if you do your center first, you want to turn around and be aware of how your petals are going into it. If you do your center last, you'll get a nice crisp line. So it's really up to you and what effect you're looking at. Now, this is a circle. How did I say we do circles, right? You have to turn around and make it lighter on the middle. And then you make it darker towards the edges. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of red with that yellow. And we're going to make it darker towards the edges. Right? So darker towards the edges. And I'm going to wipe off my brush, right? That's how we do blending. We wipe off our brush, and I'm just zigzagging between the two of those. I'm just zigzagging between the two of those. And I'm going to grab some more white and more yellow to put it in my center so that's nice and bright. Now, daisies also have those, like, they look like little dots in the center. So you can grab your black paint or whatever you want. I just put it on the tip of my brush, and you can do all those little dots. Like, adding those dots to the center of flowers is pretty cool. So here, there, not everywhere. And on the edge, they're going to be closer together, and they're going to be tighter. So on the edge, make sure you put those dots closer together and tighter. And then make them more spread out. See, that's why I do my centers last, because I like how that looks right there. I like how the dots look going into the petals. So that's why I do my centers last. But it's really just personal preference. So you want to make sure you do your dots when on the edges they're closer together. And as you work your way towards the center of your center of the flower, the center of the flower. There you go. Woo! The center of the flower. You make it more spread apart. Woo! All right. So, you guys have this. You guys have that. If you're practicing along, roll call time. We're going to do some roll call because you know I love roll call. I just want to say hello, hello, hello to everybody out there. So, we have Mitzi in the house watching with Joy. We have Stacy, Lisa, and Ginny, and Cheryl, and Julia, Dawn, Bonnie, Rachel, Amanda, Megna is here, Steph, Dawn, Lorraine, Katie, Lisa, Amanda, Amy, and Sophie. We have another Lisa. Wow, we have like 3 Lisas in the house. What? And Joanne, and Michelle, and Amanda saying hi. She's not creeping anymore. And K-Mac is in the house. We have Amanda, we have K-Mac. We have Mitzi. We have all these people that joined us. And I dropped my pen. So I can't write any of it down. No idea where my pen went, guys. We're having real struggles here. Found it. I found it. Hi, Mary. Hello. Hello, Mary. So we have Mary and Mitzi and Amanda. So, hello everybody. So, if you have any questions, hi Sharon, how you doing, sweetheart? So, if you have any questions, ask me, 6,000%. I'm just kind of taking a break here for a second so I can get a drink of coffee, and whoever is painting along has a chance to practice. So, whoever's painting along can have a chance to practice. So, that is how I do my daisies and my rosebuds. I'm going to show you next how to do a full rose. Right? We're going to work right off of that rosebud and do a full rose. Which is a lot of the same thing. It just gets bigger and bigger. Right? So, everyone, you guys are paying attention. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. You're all paying attention, right? What are the things? We like... Hi, Patricia. Hi. So we learned a lot of stuff so far. We totally learned a lot of stuff so far, right? So what did we learn so far? A lot. Like a lot. You don't even realize it, right? So we learned that there's winners and losers as far as flowers petals are concerned. The winners are the brightest petal. The losers are the darker petals. Okay? We learned that petals of a flower that are looking straight at you are like hands of a clock. So as long as you put those hands of a clock in there, you will get the shape for your petals without having them be all wonky. We also learned that when you're doing a flower, towards the center of the flower is always the darkest. Right? We have winners and losers in roses. Roses have angles. We learned that your stems need to be the same stem for the flower you're drawing. Okay, so if I was to put the stem on that daisy, I'd want to put a stem that looks like a daisy. So I'm going to get out Mini-Me. I'm going to get out Mini-Me, right? And I'm going to go over to my daisy, and I'm going to grab my blue, and I'm going to grab my yellow, right? And I'm going to grab a little bit of my white, okay? And daisy stems, so we can go straight down for a little bit, maybe put a little hook in there. But they always seem to have like these other pieces coming off. Like they always seem to have like little friends attached to them. You guys ever get flowers in a bouquet with the daisies, and they have like all these extra little pieces where their friends used to be, right? And then they have like a little bud on them of a daisy that didn't happen yet. They have a little bud of like the daisy that didn't happen yet. Or you can add, all I did was grab white paint real quick. You can add like a little tutu. Like a little, that's technical, guys. A little tutu, just like that. Right? So that's his friend that didn't bloom yet. Okay? And their leaves, I believe, are kind of like our roses, right? They come out like that. So you want to make sure that when you're drawing your plants, your flowers, that you're paying attention to what their leaves look like and their stems look like. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, W Mac. Thank you for saying that. W Mac said your tutorials are great for someone like me who has never painted before. Great. I'm so glad that these are helpful. I try my best. I do try my best. And they're just simple little tricks for you guys. I try not to get too fancy. And there's lots of times I'm painting and I have to stop myself from doing what I usually do because I have to remember to show you what I'm doing. Like when I was doing the rose before, I just want to start adding everything to it because trust me, this will become second nature to you. The more you practice and the more you do, it's going to become second nature. Okay, so let's go back to our, oh, awesome, Calpana. Thank you so much. So, let's go back to our rose, right? Let's go back to our rose. And with our rose, to make it into an actual big rose, all right? All you do, I'm grabbing my Mini-Me again, which is that small flat brush. All you do is build off of this. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. Bless you too. Okay, so I'm going to grab my white, and I'm going to grab my red, and make that pink color again. Make that base pink color again. And you just want to work off of this. So, what did I say before? Straight lines. Roses have straight lines. So, I'm going to turn around and put a big old petal in here. So, I made my 2 straight lines. And then I'm going to do an angle there. And I'll just come back in and put a little swoop right there. Right? Say that's part of, that's a part of the petal that's folding over. Okay, so you just build off of that. So say my other one, it's coming out over here, it's coming out over here, right? So I'm going to put another straight line there, and I'm going to put another straight line here. Your world, your flowers. So you do whatever you want. Maybe put a little dip in there. Okay, so then I'm going to come over here, straight line that one out, put a little dip, maybe make that one a small petal. Okay, right, straight lines in roses. It took me a long time to figure that out. There's straight lines in roses. Okay, put another little guy right here. All right, cover up that rosebud part that we were doing. Right, and maybe there's another little guy like right in here. Right, your flower, your world, your flower. Okay, so I'm going to just put all that in with that base pink color. Okay, I'm going to put all this in with that base pink color that I was using before. And it's the same exact rules I told you for the rosebud. It's the same exact rules. So, what were those rules, guys? You guys remember, right? So, it's darker towards the center. It's darker towards the center. It's going to be, where there's an overlap, it's going to be bright on top and really dark underneath it. These are coming out like hands of a clock, right? From the center of your flower. Okay, all these weird little angles, but they're still all pointing inwards towards the center of the flower. Okay, so this looks like a big old mess, right? Flowers to me always seem like a big old mess when I first paint them, and then as I'm adding the shading and everything else, they start to look a little bit better. I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but they always seem like a big old mess to me. All right, what did I say? I said it's darker towards the center. So I'm grabbing that red paint. I'm grabbing that red paint. And I'm going to come in here. And I'll make, see, I'm zigzagging. All I'm doing is zigzagging. I'm grabbing that red paint. And I'm zigzagging towards the other parts. So I'm grabbing that red paint and I'm zigzagging. I'm zigzagging to blend it out. That's all I'm doing. We're zigzagging. Zigzag-a-zoom. Zigzag-a-zoom, right, Magna? Zigzag-zoom. Zig-a-zag-a-zoom. Alright, I'm just grabbing red paint, guys, and I'm just zigzagging it. Grabbing red paint and I'm zigzagging it, because anything towards the center is going to be darker. Okay? And then it gets lighter as it works its way out. So I'm going to grab that pink color from before and I'm just going to zigzag that now. To blend this all together. It gets lighter as it works its way to the end of the petal. Lighter as it works its way to the edge of the petal. So I'm just zigzagging, grabbing that lighter pink, blending this all out. So when anybody ever says blending to you, just say zig-a-zag-a-zoom. Zig-a-zag-a-zoom is blending. Choo-choo-choo, zig-a-zag-a-zoom. So whenever you hear anybody on the other videos you watch playing hooky on me, just remember zigzag-zoom when they say blend. Because that's all you're doing. You're just zigzagging between the two colors to blend it out. Just zigzagging between the two colors to blend it out. That's all you're doing. Okay? So, say there's fold overs, right? So I'm going to fold it over. Alright, so I'm grabbing white paint, because this is going to be the brightest, and I'm going to make this petal fold over. Bam! Just like that. Now this petal is folding over. Remember what I said, roses have sharp points. Right? So, folding that over. And underneath the fold over is where it has to be really dark. It has to be really dark under the fold over, right? Okay? Maybe a little dark right in here towards the edges of the petal. Right? So you can get a little dark towards the edges of the petal. Right? And then in here, right, remember our little rosebud, right? That's gone. That just needs to be like the darkest color possible, because he's under all this happy stuff going on. So we're going to make him as dark as possible. All right, so say in here, say there's another fold over right here. Right, I'm going to go up, swoop, and I'm going to come this way, bam. Swoop and bam. There's my other fold over. Right? Now, what do we do with the fold over? Underneath it, dark as possible. Dark as possible. Right? Zigzag-a-zoom. Now, which petal's winning and which one's losing? See these two next to each other? One's winning and one's losing, right? So whoever's losing is the darkest. Whoever's winning is lighter. So I'm going to make this guy the winner, because I'm in control. It's one cool thing about painting. I get to be in control. All I did was grab some white paint, and I'm zigzagging, zooming, and I'm making the edge of that petal lighter. That's all I did. I just grabbed a little bit of white paint, tiniest amount. Look, look. See, there's like hardly anything on my brush. You see that? Like hardly any paint on my brush. And I'm just going to make this petal on that edge a little lighter. That's all I'm going to do. And then I'm going to take my red paint, very little, guys, and I'm going to come in here and make that part darker. Okay? So that's how you do that. Say I'm going to do a bend right here. Let's do a bend right here, right? So you guys can tell me how to do this already. You already know. So how am I going to do this, right? I'm going to put my brightest part of my bend. I'm going to make angled lines. There. There's a nice bright bend right there. Just like that. I'm going to put my darker paint underneath it. Zigzag-a-zooming. I'm just blending. I'm just blending. That's all I'm doing. I'm going to put a little tiny, tiny, tiny bit of dark right here. Right on the edge right there. And blend that out. Just the tiniest amount of dark right there. Just to make it look like a 3D shape. Hey, Carillia. That's okay. You could be late. Okay. Now, look, we have another winner-loser situation going on here, right? Winner-loser situation. So I'm going to make this guy the winner. So I'm going to grab that little bit of white paint. I'm going to come in here. And I'm going to lighten that edge. Right? Because like I said, we had a little winner-loser situation. So I picked this petal to be my winner. I picked that petal to be my winner. And now I'm just grabbing a little bit of red paint because it's not blending anymore because it dried. So that petal is my winner. And the petal that's the loser, you loser right here, we're going to add dark to. We're going to add the dark to it. Right? So I'm not going to paint this. It's better to start from the center out, Joy. So Joy asked me, is it better to start at the top of the flower and work down? So it's better to start actually from the center out. So you want to start from the center out. Like you don't want to turn around and start up here, you know, and then you got to think everything. Thank you, Teresa. That's okay. It's all right if you guys are late. It's all good. Just watch the replay. So everything is, when you think of flower, think of from the center out because that's what you want to do. And when you're working on it, you want to think about going around. So it's not necessarily a top or a bottom. You're actually just going around. So however you want to go around, you go around. That's what you have to do. All right. So that was a really good question, Joy. Really good question. So thank you, Teresa. I'm glad you get some good information. So another thing I wanted to show you real quick. This is fun. You guys. Julia. That's all right. It's all in practice. It's all in practice. The more you practice, the better you'll get. And just remember, no mistakes. And the golden rule, just remember the golden rule of having fun. Okay? So just remember the golden rule of having fun. And follow all of those tricks I just taught you. Okay? So, angles and roses. Angles and roses. Anything towards the center is darker. Winners and losers. Okay? Winners and losers. Winners and losers as far as your petals are concerned. Alright? So, now, you guys can all go and do that Beauty and the Beast painting that I saw some of you had with the rose being under the glass. I think, Cheryl, you did that one? I saw some of them on the group thing. So, that's why I was like, oh, I have to do how-to flowers. Alright, so what I want to show you real quick, too, is how to do, like, grass and foliage. Alright, so I'm going to grab my big boy brush. So I'm going to swirl tap that, my big boy. And I'm going to do some grass down here. Yeah, so now you can go back and schmooze it if you'd like to. So I'm just grabbing big boy, and I want to do some grass. And I wanted to show you guys grass just because real quick, like. So what you want to remember with grass is the more colors you have, the better it looks. Okay, so the different variation of colors is the better it looks. So I'm grabbing yellow and I'm grabbing blue. All right, and I'm going to put that over here. And I'm just going to smush a little bit. I'm not going to separate. I'm not going to blend it all together as one solid color. I'm going to keep it separate on my brush. And I'm just going to grab a little bit of white. Okay, and I'm going to put that onto my brush too. See all those colors all modeled together there? Right, they're not all mixed together. They're separate. And what you want to do is you put your brush straight on and you just do a flick. You just want to do a flick. Okay? And with those separation of colors on your brush, it's going to add all these fun little details into your grass. So, and you want your grass that's in the back to be a little darker. So I'm going to grab some just blue. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make this darker. And I'm just flicking. My brush is straight on. It's a 1-inch flat. And I'm just making it a little darker. That's all I'm doing. Okay? And then as I work my way closer to me, I'm going to grab some more yellow and I'm going to grab some more white. Now notice it's still all a big mess on my brush. I didn't clean it. I didn't do anything. And then you want to put those in. And they're a little closer. So what you want to remember when you're doing grass, it's a simple flick. And you want to add all these extra colors on your brush and not necessarily make it one solid color. Don't want to make it one solid color. You want to have all this fun on your brush when you do this. And you could just keep layering on top of this all you want. So that is the trick to grass, guys. All right? That is the trick. Let the paintbrush do the work for you. Right? If you can give up some control, some of you ladies out there, if you can give up some control and just work with blue, yellow, and white, you will get cool looking grass. And just remember, you can add the dark ones in later. You just go in like right in between a couple here. And because say you got a little too happy and you got like a globby spot, you can just go in like halfway up and add the blue on. Add the blue in later. So anybody that was trying to do grass, there you go. That's how you do grass. All right. So another thing I wanted to show you is if there's any flowers you guys want to see other than the rose and the daisy, let me know. All right. So I was going to do, somebody mentioned before, I think the crocus is the one that has the petals like this and then the bell in the center. I'm going to do that one. Again, it's the same rules. It's the same exact rules. Okay. So I think that's the crocus. I'm not really sure. I'm not a botanist, guys. Definitely not a botanist. That is for sure. So we're going to go in over here and I am going to just, let's see, what brush do I want to use now? I don't know. I don't know what brush I want to use. Okay, so I guess I'll grab, let's go with Big Boy. Let's go with Big Boy. Why not? So I'm swirl, tap, and dabbing Big Boy. I'm getting that blue and green out of him. Daffodils. Daffodils are the ones that have that thing out the center? Okay, that sounds good. Thanks, Julia. Alright, so I'm going to grab that white paint. And I can grab my dirty white. It's fine. So I'm just going to grab that white paint. And I'm going to map, right? I'm going to map. So, they have a center. So, hands of a clock. Hands of a clock. Right? Hands of a clock. We're going to do that. And then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to curve my edges and go around those lines. See that? I'm going around those lines. Now, I don't know if they have a certain amount of petals or anything like that. So if you guys are looking at a picture of a flower and they have a certain amount of petals to make it a daffodil, that's fine. But, you know, like I said, I'm not a botanist. So some of these might not be completely correct in their rendering, but that's all right. That's not the point. So I'm just rounding my edges, if you see. That's all I'm doing. I put those lines in like hands of a clock, and I'm just rounding those edges. Okay? Now, I want to do the details of these first before I put that other piece in. All right, so I'm going to do the details of these first. So I'm going to grab that white paint that I had. Thanks, Calpana. And I'm going to grab some yellow, right? Daffodils are yellow. And I'm just going to turn around and fill this in. Okay, so you want to do your colors first for this. You want to do the back part of the flower first. All right, so all I did was grab some yellow and white paint. And I'm just coloring this in. And notice I worked from the center out. Right? Everything's going around to the center. Right? I'm putting this in and I'm going to the center. All right? So you just got to remember center out. That's what you have to remember. Okay? So we're going to put these in. All right? Just like that. And that blue is showing because my yellow doesn't show up without to the party without blue. I mean without white. And I purposely didn't put a lot of white to get that dark background to show through. So it adds to my shading without even trying. It adds to the shading without even trying. So if you notice, everything towards the center is a little darker than on the tips. Okay, so then we're going to do the winner-loser thing. We're going to do the winner-loser thing, right? So the winner-loser, so I'm going to grab some white paint here. I'm just going to grab some white paint. And this petal is going to be the winner, so I'm going to make him lighter. This petal is going to be the winner, so I'm going to make him lighter. Okay, so let's make this petal the winner on that side, right? So you can have them be the winner on one side and not the other. So that goes with blending. You'd have to make this darker into going into lighter, okay? So we're going to make this guy the winner. Let's make that guy the winner right there. Okay, all I'm doing is grabbing white paint and picking my winners and losers. That's all I'm doing. Let's make this guy a winner right there. So wherever your two petals touch, wherever your petals touch together, you got to pick winners and losers. You got to pick winners and losers. And let's make this guy a winner. Right there. All right, so I'm going to grab a little tiny bit of red, like the smallest amount of red. Like, look at that, like hardly any red at all. All right, and my losers, I'm just going to make a little darker. Oh, that's too much red. That was too much red. See, I told you, a little bit of red, not much. And I grabbed too much. Those things happen. Those things happen. We don't stress those things, though, because there's no mistakes, right? Like Bob Ross says, there's no mistakes. That was just a little too much red. That's what was going on there. All right, so grab the littlest, tiniest amount of red, and I'm putting in all of my darker underneath the winners there. Okay, and a little darker in the center. Remember I said a little darker in the center? A little darker in the center for all of your petals. All right, so a little darker in the center for all of your petals. Okay, so you want to let that dry. You want to let that dry. All right, I'm just grabbing white paint again, and I'm going to come in here and redesignate my winners because I kind of lost them. So a lot of this is playing around. Darks and lights, winners and losers. Okay, winners and losers. So I want to redesignate my winning edges here. And I'm just dabbing. I'm not like totally putting, you know, here, there, not everywhere. Right, guys? Here, there, not everywhere. I'm just dabbing that white paint on. I'm going to do my tips on all of them with a little bit of white. Like hardly any paints on my brush. Look, see? Nothing on my brush. So I'm going to do my tips a little lighter. Winners or losers or not. So do the tips a little lighter. Okay, redesignate my winners. All right. So you want to let that dry. All right, before you add any extra piece to that, you want to let that dry. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. Let me throw in a stem real quick. Now, a daffodil stem, I'm going to grab that round brush I was using before for this, okay? So I'm grabbing that round brush that I used before. So let's just grab our green paint. All right, let's just grab our green paint and swoop the stem in. So daffodil stems are pretty straight. They have like maybe a little bend like up in here. And the faster you go, the straighter your lines are going to be, guys. Just to let you know. So swoop. It's all in the swoop. Just like that. Bam. Right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay? And then the daffodils have those leaves that come out from the bottom. Right? Like tulip leaves. So they have those leaves that come up from the bottom. Okay? So we're going to throw those bad boys in here. Right? And just like the petals, you need a winner and loser, right? All this, look, all this is overlapping each other right here. All that mess, right? So we need winners and losers there. So I'm going to grab my yellow and my white. Yellow and white. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to make this leaf the winner over everything. He is the winner over all of them. Okay, so he has to be the lightest. I'm going to leave this leaf alone. I'm going to wipe off my brush, right? Globs on your brush means globs on your painting. And now I'm going to grab just blue. And I'm going to come in with the just blue. Just blue. And I'm going to do my stem. All right, I'm going to do my stem. So, now, that whole big mess down there, you have it looking the way it's supposed to. You have this on top, this is second, that's third. Okay? And I'm going to grab my just blue to go right where the flower is too on my stem. Right where the flower is on my stem. Because that's going to be dark in there. Alright? So, now this should be pretty much dry enough for what we need it for. So I'm going to grab my mini-me. I'm going to get all that pink out of it from the rose. And I'm going to do that center thing. So I want to grab just white. Somewhere in this mess, I'm going to grab just white. Okay, and we're going to go in here. And you're going to, right, it's round. So swoop in your round piece. And then you're going to come out this way. Remember when I did the 3D cylinders and shapes and all that stuff? So I'm going to swoop in my round piece. And I'm going to come out this way. And then swoop in here because that's round. And then swoop over here because that's round. Now, I am not looking at a picture. So I'm not sure if this is exactly the way they look. But we're going to roll with that. We're going to roll with that. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to put that in there. Now, everything that is behind that is going to be darker. So I'm going to grab that yellow, that red and yellow before, right? Just a little bit of red. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to make this darker. And I'm going to come over here and this is going to be darker over here. Okay, this one's going to be darker because it's behind it. Right, make all of those pieces darker. Okay, and then just like the cylinder, just like I taught you how to paint the cylinder, that's how you're going to shade this bad boy. All right, so if the light is coming directly at it, I'm going to grab that little bit of red paint and some of that yellow from before, and I'm going to do, right, the edges. So this way, zigzag a zoom for blending, zigzag zoom. Do the edge over here. Zigzag a zoom. Zigzag zoom. I'm picking up some of my stem color, which that's all right. So, right, happy little accidents. That just made that really dark on the bottom, didn't it? Picking up that little bit of stem color. Okay, wipe off my brush. Grab my white. Grab my yellow. Come in the center. Zigzag zoom. Zigzag zoom, just like that. Zigzag zoom. Okay, and then you want to do your centerpiece right here. Swoop, 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 just like that. Right, and I'm not really sure how these end here. I'm sorry, guys, but I really don't know. I don't know how this part looks on the daffodil, so I'm just going to like kind of soften the edges up a bit and you know, make this part in here a little darker right there. I'm going to make that a little darker, and then I'm going to wipe off my brush. I'm going to grab my yellow and my white. So doing a flower, you kind of want, with acrylic paint, you want to do it like quickly for a lot of your stuff because it's easier to do your blending. So I'm going to grab my white. So now I'm going to grab just white and put in like these pieces. So I don't really know what these ends look like on these flowers, but that is how you would draw the shape in. And then you guys can look up the detail on how that detail looks right there. But you just want to make sure that you put, you know, that little bit of shadowing inside that center part there. Now I'm just going to go back. And I'm just going to go back to my petals and put in that nice bright on the edges here. So I am literally just playing at this point. There's no like really rhyme or reason or anything I'm doing. I'm just playing with whatever's on my brush. I'm just grabbing some white paint, really popping in my edges. Maybe pop in that petal right there. And that, from what I was told from Julia, is a daffodil. Alright, so, ooh, you know what I could show you guys? Alright, well, we'll do one more. I'm going to show you a lotus, because those are fun. I'm going to show you a lotus, okay? Alright, so I'll give you guys a second to practice there. Gives you guys a second to practice if you're practicing that one. Okay, and then we're going to do, or a crocus. It might be a crocus. I'm not really sure. Maybe I should have, like, caught up on my botany before I did this one. So, oh, all right, guys. So why I have you here, and you guys are all... Okay, a lotus. It might be a lotus. It might be a crocus. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 6,000% sure on this one, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. And I did it with my Chicks on the Loose video in the barns, when I had the barn. Alright, so real quick, guys, I want to show you. So, anybody coming to join me? This is Friday. So, Friday, we are going to have our angel. So this is the painting for Friday. Lotus is pink on a lily pad. Oh, yeah, lotus isn't what I wanted to show you. It's a crocus then. Okay, so the lotus is the one on the, gotcha. Thank you, Magna. Thanks, guys. So lotus is the one that's on the lily pad. Crocus is the one I want to show, or it's a lily. I want to show you the one that goes up and then has that like center part flapping out. That's what I want to show you. So a crocus, a mum, carnation, all of those are really, really simple. So those are all just, you do it just like the daisy. So this is Friday, guys. So if you want to hang out with us and paint a pretty angel, this is for Friday. All right? So, a lotus, a carnation, a mum, like all of those are really, really simple. And I'll show you real quick. I'll grab that round brush. All right, so if you do carnation, mom, lotus, all of that kind of stuff, let's go down here. All you're doing is exactly how we started the daisy. You want your dark in the back, and then you put light on top of it. So if you're doing a lotus, right, red and white, and you're just going to put bam, 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 and I'm just flicking my brush. If you notice, I am just flicking the brush, and I'm putting a dark pink in there. That's all I'm doing, and all I'm doing is flicking my brush. I'm coming from this bottom part out. Okay, so you have that. And then you just want to throw lighter on top of it. Look, so I just grabbed some white, and I'm just going to do here, there, not everywhere. All right, guys? Here, there, not everywhere. I'm just going to throw lighter pink on top of it. And just like that, you have a lotus. Okay? And then, you know, once that dries, you can go back and add more darks and more lights to it. And that's the same thing with a mum, a carnation. Like, you just go around in a circle. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you. All right, so I want to show you, I guess it's an iris. I'm not really sure. So anyway, I'm going to grab that dirty white paint that I had. And let's go all the way up here. So, I want to show you this flower. So if you guys know what this flower is, so I'm going to make a bell. I'm still using that round brush. So it comes up like that with its petals. And then it has that one piece that flips out this way. You guys know what flower that is? I don't know what flower that is, but it's really fun to make. So it has that one petal that flips out like towards you. Tulip. I'm not sure it's a tulip, Joy. Because tulip's got like rounded. This has like longer pieces. Bird of paradise, iris, maybe an iris, I don't know. Anyway, maybe it's an iris, a lily, it could be a lily. Yeah, bird of paradise is really cool, but they have those straight stems up like this. Bird of paradise is like those straight stems like that, and then they have those pieces that come out like this. Birds of paradise are really cool. Right? So that's another flower that's all angles. That's another flower that's like all angles. That's a bird of paradise. Just like that. And they have those like straight things. Those things are really cool. Lady slipper. Yeah, it might be that one too. I don't know. Somebody has to Google it, I guess. Go Google. Okay? So what's cool about this one is now you got to watch your shading, right? So I have that part. I'm just going to grab some yellow. So it's the same rules though, all right? It's overlapping this part. So that's going to be the darkest. Okay? This part is going to be dark. And under here is going to be dark. Okay? And then this part up here is going to be bright. It's actually coming towards you. So all that is a bell, 2 flips on either side, and then you do the piece coming towards you. And that piece coming towards you is the winner. All right, this piece coming towards you is the winner, and everything else has to be darker. Oops, I grabbed some green somehow. I don't know. My palette's getting really, really messy. It's getting really, really messy. That's what's happening. So that part's the darkest. And then this part coming in here this dark. And then you have the flip coming towards you. Well, bam! I don't know. I just really like this flower. And it's really easy to paint. Right? It looks like a drooping banana. Exactly. Exactly, Magna. It's like a drooping banana. That's exactly what it looks like. So those are fun. Those are a fun flower. I don't know what flower that is, but it's a fun flower. So again, just remember your lights and darks. That's all you have to remember. All right. Now, back to the Lotus. If this was a mum, you would do the whole thing like in a big circle to make a mum. Okay. And so now that this is dry, I can grab just my red. I can come in here, right, darkest towards the center, or the bottom, because it's a lotus. And I'm going to grab just my red, and put my red in there. And then I'm going to grab just my white, and put my white pieces in there. Here, there, not everywhere, right guys? Here, there, not everywhere. Here, there, not everywhere. And I'm just simply popping them in. And this is how you do a mum, a carnation, any of those kind of ones that just have a whole bunch of petals. So, now, I think I showed you everything that you need to see as far as a flower is concerned, right? So we covered the daisy, we covered the centers, all right, guys? And we covered the rose. We have our daffodil. We have our whatever it was called. Birds of paradise are a lot of fun. We have a lotus here, or a mum, or a carnation. Same exact thing. Okay, Cheryl, I got you. Right? I have more paint on me too. That's how we roll, Amanda. That's how we rolled. I have more paint on us than on the canvas. All right, guys. So, Patricia, Stacy, Lisa, Jeannie, Cheryl. I'll send you the link. Cheryl, Julia, Dawn, Bonnie, Rachel, Joy with. I wrote that all wrong. Joy is watching with somebody. I don't have the name written right. I wrote it all wrong. Amanda, Mary, another Amanda. We have Kalpana, Sharon, Michelle, Joanne, Lisa, Amy and Sophie, Amanda, Lisa, Katie, Lorraine, Dawn, Steph, and Megna. And Julia's in the house. And everybody has paint all over themselves. And they're all having fun. So if you guys have any questions, is there something I did not show you that you need to see? Now is the time to ask me. So just remember, winners and losers, okay? Mitzi, thank you, Joy. I'm like, what name did I write? Kalpana's in the house. So, W Mac, you too. That's right. I lost my pen when you came on. I lost my pen, so I didn't write your name down. Hi guys, hi everybody. So welcome to the fam. If you're new to us tonight, I do this every Tuesday. It's How To Tuesdays. We do a practice session together, and it's completely free to watch. Tips and gratuities are appreciated. I will comment the link to that now. I have PayPal, Venmo, and Cash App. So that's what keeps these free videos rolling. And anybody that sent me tips before, thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot to me, and I really appreciate it. So thank you to those who have sent support before. And you know, if you can't do a tip, that's fine. Share. Word of mouth. Oh, pansies. There you go, Penny. A pansy. Pansies are kind of cool. Pansies have different like coloring in them. Alright, so pansy. I can do a pansy. I can try to do a pansy. I don't remember what the center of a pansy looks like, though. But I can show you the petals. Okay, so pansy. Pansy is, grab that white paint. My white paint is such a mess, so Lord knows what colors are going to come out. I grabbed Big Boy. You're so welcome, W Mac. And a pansy, again, everything from the center. Oh, you know what I wanted to show you guys? So not every flower is coming right at you. You got to remember that. So if you're doing daisies, got to remember not every flower is coming right at you. So you can do one of these half circles like this. You do a half circle like that. Ooh, that's a really bad half circle. Let's try that again, Eve. Okay. So do a half circle like that. And then you can have your petals. Bam. Bam. So you can have your flowers facing straight up. Like some of your daisies facing straight up like that. Okay, so just remember that. You don't have to do all of your flowers facing right at you. You can have them at different angles. So you can do like daisies facing up like that. And then you would do your winners and your losers, and you would do your center, and you do your dots and everything else. So all that good stuff. Pansies have a face in the center. Okay. So, pansies they have a cool petal to them, right? So, I just want to like kind of tell you that too, guys. You don't have to do everything coming right towards you. You can do like these little circles for the centers and do that. And it's still hands of a clock. It's still hands of a clock when it comes out. Okay, so pansies, they come out like this, and then they have like a little swoop like that. Okay, so you have, and they have 4 petals, I believe. So all it is I'm coming out from my center, I'm pulling straight up, I do a little swoop, come back in, out, swoop, come back in. I'm going to add a little bit of blue paint so you can see the 4th petal. Come out, swoop, go back in. Okay, so now you are going to do your winners and losers with your dark and your light. Okay, you're going to do your winners and losers with your dark and your light. And one cool thing about pansies, looks like a 4-leaf clover almost, pansies, right? One cool thing about pansies is sorry, I was reading comments. Right there, they have those white petals. So I'm going to lighten this all out. I'll lighten this all out. Swoop, swoop. Lots of swooping going on. Swoop, swoop. Swoop, swoop. So, even if you're doing a flower that has the pigments in it, you still want to do your winners and losers. Okay, so you're still going to do your winners and losers. So this petal wins, right? This petal's winning, beating everybody. That petal's beating everybody. And this petal's beating on the one side. And this petal is beating this guy. Okay, so once you have your base down of winners and losers, now he has pigment in him in the center, which is really fun. So I'm just going to grab a smaller brush. This is a number 7 round. Okay, number 7 round. And I'm going to grab just my blue. And then you go in and you can do, now this is really, 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 really wet. So, and I'm just going to zigzag. You just zigzag your color in. Now it's not a zigzag to blend. It's a zigzag to get like an edge to the flower. So, but it is the same rules. So even though there's a pigment on pansies, like right in the center, you're going to turn around and do the same rules just with the other color. You're going to do the same rules just with the other color. So, even though pansies have a color coming out of the center, right? So I followed the rules for the general petal. And even though they have a color, a pigmented color, you follow the same rules with that color. Bye, Magna! You follow the same rules with that color. So, with the color, you're going to do your darks and your lights and your different things, okay? So I'm just going to add a little bit of black for that blue. And you're still going to do your winners and losers. Darker in the middle, right? Darker on the loser. So you're still going to do your winners and losers. Just with the color, that's all. Okay, so it's going to be darker in the center. You're going to do the ones that are winning, the ones that are losing, and all that fun stuff. So any flower, even though it might have like white edges and a color coming out of the center, you're following the same exact rules. You're following the same exact rules as you are the other flowers. Pansies have 5 petals. Oh, man. Thanks, Joel. Pansies have 5 petals. All right. Okay. Ready for this one? I'm going to do it. Let's do it. Pansies have 5 petals. Okay. So right here. Bam. There you go. We're going to add our petal here. Okay. And I'm going to fix this one. Bam. 5 petals. I was thinking that was looking more like a 4-leaf clover than a flower. Thank you. So thank you for looking that up for me. So, but it's the same thing with the same rules. All right. So you're going to do your darkers, you're going to do your lighters, and when there's a color in them, there is one large petal just behind the top 2. They overlap that center one. Okay, so there's one large petal just behind the top 2. So one large petal behind the top 2, okay? So it's behind these guys. Behind the top 2. And they overlap the center one. All right. I think that's what you said, Jewel. I'm not really sure. The pansy's throwing me for a loop. But that's all right. Because the whole point is that you still follow the same rules. You follow the dark and the light, the winners and the losers. And when they have a color, you follow the same rules with the color. That's getting a little bit closer to a pansy, I think. I think it's getting a little bit closer to a pansy. So, and you follow the same rules even if they have the color. So it's following the same rules with the color. That's all there is to it. So they have like a really cool, this has to dry. So they have a really cool pop of color. They have a really cool pop of color in the center of them. So let this dry and we'll get back to it. We have to let this dry because this is not going to allow me to paint any type of detail on it. Which is not going to happen. Not going to happen. And it's not going to dry if I keep painting on it. That's for sure too. So. Thanks, Jewel. Thank you for that. So, we're going to let that dry. And notice I say let that dry and I keep painting on it. So, rule of thumb, things are not going to dry if you keep painting on them. And somebody said a sunflower. Okay, so a sunflower is just like a daisy. A sunflower is just like a daisy, except one, it has pointed petals, and two, the center of it is huge. All right, so if you turn around and take your daisy, but you follow the same exact rules. All these have the same exact rules, right? The rules are good. That's what we follow. So if you take your daisy, right, and you turn around, and I can make these all pointed. Right? So sunflowers have pointed petals. Pointed, pointed, pointed. I'm just using that round brush from before. Pointy. Right? So you just make them pointy. Make your petals pointy, pointy. I believe they're pointed. I don't know. I've drawn sunflowers with pointed petals and I've drawn sunflowers with rounded petals. I'm not really sure. So, same rules though. Winners and losers. Shadows, darker towards the middle. So you do all the petals of a sunflower, again, following the clock, straight out from the center. Straight out from the center. And the thing with the sunflower is the middle is huge. The middle is huge, right? So I'm going to grab my yellow paint and I'm going to grab some white. And I'm going to grab the tiniest amount of black. And the center of a sunflower is like really big. Right? It's really, really, really big. Okay? And again, you don't have to do these where they're facing directly at you. You can change your angles. You can change all of that stuff. So, we're going to let that dry. We're going to let that dry. Let's see how our pansy's doing. Not exactly ready yet. So I'll just add more petals to my sunflower here. Alright, so you're following the same exact rules. The same exact rules as far as your petals are concerned. As far as anything is concerned, it's the same exact rules. Same exact rules as before. You got your winners, you got your losers. You got your petals that are on top. You got your petals that are underneath. You got all that happy, fun stuff going on. All that happy, fun stuff going on, right? Okay? And then your center is super big. Now, you want to make the center of your center lighter. Center of your center is lighter. Right? And sunflowers have all those dots. So I'm going to grab my black paint. And you want to do all these dots. Now your dots towards the rim. So it's the same exact as a daisy, except the center is bigger. Your dots towards the rim are closer together. And then as you work towards the center of your center, that cracks me up saying that, you want to spread them out more. Okay? And you can change the variation of your colors. So the edge of your sunflower center is going to be the darkest. And then it gets lighter. So I just grabbed a little bit of white with my black to do my dots. So same exact rules as a daisy. Except you have to pay attention to what the center looks like. Okay, so I grabbed a little white with my black dots. And your dots towards the edge are a lot of them really close together, a big mushy mess. And then you go lighter and lighter towards the center. Right? So, is it really? That's really cool to know. Coralia, sorry sweetie if I'm saying that wrong, saying that the center of a sunflower is filled with flowers. That's really cool. Okay. So, back to our pansy. Alright, so our pansy should be pretty much dry. Swirl, tap, dab. Gonna clean off my brush. Because my brush has all these different colors. You're welcome, Amanda. So, same exact rules as daisy. It's just with your center, you just want to make sure that you keep it to where all the shadowing is on the edges of the center. And then as you work your way in, it gets lighter and lighter. Okay, so back to our pansies. So I have just blue on my brush, right? And I'm going to put in, and I'm just zigzagging back and forth. That's all I'm doing. So I want to put in the detail of the pansy. Okay, so, because they have these really cool pops of colors in the middle of them. So I'm just zigzagging back and forth with my color. Now, once you put your color in, you're going to follow the same rules as before, except it's just working on a color. So I'm just zigzagging this in. That is all I'm doing. And then I'm not really sure what the center of a pansy looked like. So I am just going to put a dot for now. Because you guys already know how to do centers. You already know how to do them. I showed you already. So whenever your color has like a, your flower has like a pigment, a contrasting pigment, you're going to follow the same rules with that pigment as before. So I need to pick the winning petal, right? You said that these overlap it. So I'm just grabbing white paint. And I'm going to fix this petal. And then with my dark color, I'm just going to make that dark color a little lighter on the winning petal. That's it. So you're doing the same exact rules, whether it has color or not to it. You're going to do the same exact rules. That's what you do. Okay? So you pick your winners, and then you just make that lighter color in the color that is the color in the center. Okay? So you have your base blue, you got your lighter blue, and then your darker blue if you're doing a blue pansy. If you're doing a purple pansy, you have your lighter purple, your darker purple, your base purple. You know what I mean? So it's the same exact rules. You're just doing the same exact rules with the color. That's it. That's how you do that. Dandelions with their seeds. Okay. Alright. We can do dandelions with the seeds. So what is Coralie saying to us? Yeah, that's what makes the seeds, and it's all good. Everyone says it's wrong. It's actually Coralie. Thank you, Coralie. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joy. Oh, the dandelions, those wispy dandelions. Boy, you guys are getting like 20 paint parties out of me in one shot. I've seen daisies, I've seen roses paint parties, I've seen sunflower paint parties. This is like a 20 different paintings in one shot practice session. Alright, so last one. I will do the seeding dandelion, the one with all the little seeds flying off of it, because that's a lot of fun. It kind of follows the same exact rules as the carnations and mums and all that. They're just little wisps. Can everybody say wisps? I can't say wisps very good. And then, thank you, Joy. Yeah, so flowers are all about shading. Make sure you just put it in the right spots. We already went over that. So you want the wispy dandelion, and we'll take care of that. So the wispy dandelion, wisps, right, Katie? It's like, oh, good, Coralie. I'm so glad. Wisps. That's like that word you just can't say. Wisps. So I gotta take a break, guys. Whew, give me a minute. Painting like a fiend over here. My hair's all messed up. I got paint all over me. So I hope everybody else is having just as much fun as I am. And making a big old mess, but we're learning a lot, right? So that's the whole point. Alright, so I will do your wispy dandelion for you. Alright, I have no more room on my canvas. No more room on the canvas. Let's see where we're going to put our wispy dandelion. Da, 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 da. Let's see where it's going to go. Thanks for the love, guys. Thanks for the love. All right, coffee's down. Coffee is down. I have to get clean white paint, And I gotta get one of my smaller brushes. Let me get one of my smaller brushes here. Ooh, you know what we could use? We could use a liner brush for this. Ooh, thank you, Lisa. So a liner brush is really cool. I showed this when I did trees. So this is a Premier Midnight. It has weird numbers. M4585 script brush. Okay, so it's really, 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 really cool. I sell them, Joy. So what do I do with all my paintings? I sell them. So if you guys, any of you out there if you ever want an Eve's Original, I do commission pieces. And if you ever want, like say the angel, hold on, I'll be right back. So say the angel painting, right? Any of these paintings that you see me start the parties with, these are all for sale. And every single one of them is under $50. So if anybody ever wants one of the paintings that I painted, you can look at all my old videos and everything else. All of those paintings that I started with, that I start the show with, the finished ones, and some of the ones that I instruct, because I fix them up later, are all for sale. And every single one, I think I only have a couple that's over $50, but most of them are $50, $45, $35, and I could turn around and I can customize them for you. So it would be the price of the painting plus shipping and handling, and all of these are 16 by 20s. So just to let you guys know, if there's any of the paintings that you see me do, any of these videos, if you really like the painting and you want to have an Eve's Original, that's how you get one. You just message me or email me or call me, and you say, hey, Eve, how much for, what did we do? How much for your sloth painting? I'll let you know, and then it'll be shipping and handling on top of it. So that's what I do with my paintings, Joy. Okay, that's what I do. All right, so this is they call it a script. I call it a liner. It's really, really cool brush. It's like really long and thin. You see that? It's really nifty. All right, so we need one of those Dandelion with wisps. Okay, so let's go. Where should I go? Let's go right here. Let's go right there. All right, so Dandelion with wisps. All right, so I'm gonna grab my mini me for right now, because I gotta put the stem in. And I'm just gonna grab some black paint with some blue. Make a really, really, really dark black paint with some blue. And I'm just gonna drop a stem in real quick here. Shoop. Just like that. Okay, so there's our stem. And then we need like a little centerpiece. So I'm just going to grab some black paint and I'm going to just do a little centerpiece right here. Right, little center. Okay, and now to use the liner brush, you want your paint nice and thin. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to my paint because everything's starting to get goopy. So I'm going to just take that round brush from before to my white paint, and I'm just, and you want to make sure you use clean water, unlike me. So use clean water when you do this. Good night, Amanda. You're welcome, sweetie. Use clean water when you do this, because obviously I just made my white very blue with my dirty water. So you want it nice and loose, see? Nice and loose. See that? Okay, so we want nice, loose paint. So all I did was add a little bit of water to that. That's all I did. And I'm going to take that liner brush, because these are fun. And you just pull it through. You just pull it through that nice loose paint. See how it's nice and full? You see that? I don't know if you can see that. Here, nice and full. Okay? And I'm going to come up here. Good night, Sophie. Yes, Joy, I'm still going to be on Facebook for now. We're going to edit my videos and post them to YouTube off of Facebook. And I'm going to build up some subscribers, and then I'm going to start doing the YouTube videos. So I will keep you all posted on that. No worries. Okay. So the dandelion is very simply, you're just doing these nice thin pieces coming out. You're not going to see the ones in the white. So, but you guys will be all right. And the liner brush, if you notice, I am just pulling it along. And it makes all these amazing things happen. And since my black center is still wet, it's already adding the shading in for me. So, lots of times if you do stuff with flowers and it's still wet, you know, your shading and all of that you have to add in is like easy peasy lemon squeezy, because you're just going to pick up the color that's underneath and it's going to wind up having all the shading for you. So if you notice, I put that black center in there and I'm pulling from the center and I'm pulling out. And it's making all these little gray tones already in my dandelion. Okay? And then very simply, there you have it. There's your dandelion. And all I did was use my script brush or my liner brush, and I put that little black center, and I'm pulling very thin, loose white paint out from it. And it causes all of that shading for me. I don't even have to work at it. Okay? And then you could do your little wisps flying off if you want to. And then they have the little pieces on the tip, because those are the seedlings, right? So they have the little pieces on the tip. And that's it. That's how you do that. So, and then like grab more black right here. So if I grab more black, I can put in an even darker spots towards the center. So same rules, guys, right? Center's the darker spots. The petals get lighter as you work your way out. So, there is your dandelion. Okay? So, yes, I am still going to be on Facebook. Thank you so much. Thank you, Janice. And I hope everybody learned something tonight. It was an awesome, awesome, awesome practice session. I really enjoyed it. If you have any questions while you're painting something, you could always message me and ask me. That would be fine. And I just want to say thank you for joining me tonight. And I hope everybody learned something tonight and had a great time. Welcome to the family. We all practice together. We all share together because we're all trying to do the same thing. And remember the golden rule, to have fun and go create. Okay? You all warm my heart. Mwah. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me. Okay? So let's say our goodnights, even though it's so sad. And I hope you all had a good time tonight and learned lots of stuff. Good night, Calpana. Thank you so much. It is very chilly here in New Jersey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Coralie. I'm going to get that right now. Coralie, I'm so glad you joined me tonight, and the painting you sent me is amazing. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, guys. Night, night, Lisa. You're welcome, Katie. Thank you so much. You're welcome. So, yeah, I'm sure it's freezing. You're so welcome, Ginny. Thank you for joining me. Good night, Sharon. Yeah, it's cold here in Jersey. It's in the teens. Good night, Teresa. Thanks for joining me again. So great to have all my fam here and have us all learn together. I love it. I love it a lot. Good night, Coralie. I love the painting you sent me. You're so welcome, Julia. Good night, sweetheart. Good night, hon. Thank you so much, Joy and Mitzi. Thank you so much, Joy and Mitzi. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you learned a lot. Oh, it's freezing in Oklahoma, too. I bet it is. I bet it is. I bet it is freezing. So let's move this back so we can see all of our flowers we did tonight. We did so many flowers tonight. We rocked it out tonight, people. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And thank you so much for all your help tonight and schooling me on which flowers look like what. You guys got like 10 paint parties out of me in one shot. Wow, Joy, that is cold. That is really cold. Yeah, that's like 0 degrees in Fahrenheit. Oh, you're so welcome, Sharon. Thank you. I got my soda, guys. Just taking a few sips of my soda. So I just want to tell everybody thank you so much and have an amazing evening. Have fun. Go create. I love you and you all warm my heart. And have a great evening. Have a great Tuesday, okay? Bye now.